This is a video about a hypothesis test for a proportion. The question states, 10 years ago, 58% of the fish in Eagle Lake were native. The Forest Service performed a study to see if that proportion has changed. Of the 250 fish that were trapped, 170 were native. Use alpha equals 0.05. So the first thing we do is we write down what our null hypothesis is. So what they found is 10 years ago, 58% were native. So the null hypothesis is it's still 58%. Or in other words, H naught colon P, this is a proportion because we look at a fish and we say, is it native? And the answer is yes or no. That's proportions. So P equals 0.58. Now notice we want to find out if the proportion has changed. That means it's either above or below. So it's not greater, not less than, it's not equal to. So in particular, HA, the alternative hypothesis, colon, is P is not equal to 0.58. Okay, next let's get our important numbers. We were told that they had 250 fish and that 170 were native. So N is 250, X is 170, P hat is 170 over 250, which is 0.68. The next thing I do is I want to find out, can I use the normal distribution to run this hypothesis test? So I check NP and NQ. N times P is 250 times P, 0.58, and that is definitely bigger than 5. You can put that in a calculator, you'll see that. And then I check NQ, that's 250, times Q is 1 minus P, which is 0.42. And if you multiply those, also much bigger than 5. So that means we can use our calculator, which uses our normal distribution. So let's do that. Okay, so here's the calculator. We're running a hypothesis test because we had an H naught and an HA. And the survey question was yes, no. We're talking about proportions. We had a P. So that means we want a hypothesis test for a proportion. And here it is. I click on that. And it asks for N. N was 250. It asked for X. X was 170. It asked for P naught. That's to the right side of the null and alternative hypotheses. So that's 0.58. We wanted a P not equal to 0.58. So I click on not equal to for the two-tailed test and I hit calculate. And there's our Z, our test statistic, 3.2-ish. And there's our p-value, 0.001, etc. And now I'm ready to understand the stuff and then state our conclusion. Okay, so we had a test statistic of 3.2 and a p-value of 0.0014. And here's a picture of what's going on. The test statistic was 3.20, and it turns out if you have alpha is 0.05, the corresponding z for that is 1.96 and also negative 1.96. 3.20 is very far away from 0 compared to 1.96. So it's in the rejection region. Also, P was equal to 0.0014, which is much less than 0.05, which is a level of significance. So that's another reason why we can reject the null hypothesis. So let's state our conclusion. We can reject H naught and accept HA and say there is statistically significant evidence to show the population proportion of native fish in Eagle Lake has changed since 10 years ago. And I'm done with the problem. Thank you for watching this video.